In 1981, the world teetered on the brink of a new nuclear threat. Middle East, Iraq. In the Middle East, in Iraq, a secret nuclear facility was under construction. The Osirak Nuclear Reactor, just outside Baghdad. Officially, it was described as a research reactor. But Israeli intelligence knew the truth. It was far more dangerous. Israeli analysts believed that Saddam Hussein's regime could use the reactor to build a nuclear bomb. If that happened, the balance of power in the Middle East would change forever. And so, Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin made a decision that shocked even his closest allies. The reactor must be destroyed. June 7, 1981, late afternoon. On an Israeli airbase, an unusual silence hung in the air. The pilots already knew today's mission could change the course of Middle Eastern history. On the runway, 14 warplanes were ready. The strike group, 8 F-16 Fighting Falcons, the bombers, 6 F-15 Eagles, the escort fighters. Their target lay far away, over 1,000 kilometers from home, the nuclear facility, Osirak, near Baghdad. But the journey there was even more dangerous than the attack itself. To reach Iraq, the planes had to fly secretly over foreign territories, Jordan, Saudi Arabia. If any radar spotted them, interceptors would launch, and the mission would be over before it even began. Flight over the desert. The jets lifted into the sky. The pilots set their course east, but instead of climbing high, they did the opposite. The fighters dropped almost to ground level, skimming over the desert sands at just a few dozen meters. At that altitude, radar detection was nearly impossible. Around them, only endless desert. Ahead, hundreds of kilometers of tense, nerve-wracking flight. One mistake, and the operation would fail. The target appears. After hours of flight, the horizon changes. A large concrete dome rises from the desert. This was the Osirak Nuclear Reactor. The pilots received the command, attack. 90 seconds that changed history. The F-16 surge upward, bomb bays open. Within seconds, 16 powerful bombs streaked toward the reactor. First explosion, second explosion, then more and more. The massive concrete dome collapses. The nuclear reactor ceases to exist. The entire strike lasts less than a minute and a half, roughly 90 seconds. The operation would be remembered as Operation Opera, and those 90 seconds became one of the most famous preemptive strikes in modern military history. The world reacts. As Israeli jets left Iraqi airspace, the news spread around the globe. The Osirak reactor near Baghdad was completely destroyed, but the real shockwave was diplomatic. Countries around the world were stunned by Israel's bold move. Even allies strongly criticized the strike. The United Nations convened an Emergency Security Council session. Within days, a resolution was passed condemning the attack. Even the United States, Israel's closest ally, publicly stated that the strike violated international law. The world feared this incident could spark a full-scale war in the Middle East. Iraq's response, Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein called the attack an act of aggression. He vowed that Iraq would rebuild its nuclear program and retaliate. But reconstruction would take years, and the nuclear project was effectively halted. A decade later, history judges differently. By 1991, the Gulf War began. When the international coalition entered Iraq, it became clear Saddam's regime had been trying to develop weapons of mass destruction. Experts later said, perhaps Israel's strike in 1981 prevented Iraq from obtaining a nuclear bomb. Lesson for future conflicts. After this operation, Israel formed a strategy often called the Begin Doctrine. If an enemy attempts to build nuclear weapons, Israel may destroy the program before it is completed. That's why, today, when the world talks about Iran's nuclear facilities, many recall Operation Opera. History shows Israel has done it before. Final, chilling thought, 90 seconds in the skies over Iraq. And perhaps those 90 seconds forever changed the course of Middle Eastern history.